I'm Tom Grace. From 10 December 2011, legislation regulates the payment of builders and subcontractors in South Australia. This video is a hypothetical scenario illustrating one aspect of the Building and Construction Industry Security of Payment Act 2009. Fenwick Elliott Grace specialise in construction and engineering law. Find us at feg.com.au.
Simon. Yeah, it's Bob from Buildco, mate. Yeah, we're having all sorts of trouble with Tony Adams and Fireco. Well, the superintendent isn't accepting some of their work. And they sent us an invoice for a progress payment, but we ignored it. Well, the contract says that the fire system installation has to comply with AS 2118. And if it doesn't, and we don't think it does, there could be over 200k of remedial work. And the whole saga's stalling the project. The owner's holding back a $2 million payment on us.
Right, so have you paid Fireco for this defective work?
Well, Tony asked for a progress payment, which we didn't pay because of the defects. And now we've got a letter from his lawyers saying that they're going to get a summary judgment for the full amount of the invoice, which is like 450k. And as if that isn't enough, we got a second invoice from him claiming another 300. What can we do about that? You know, what's this Tony Adams going on about?
Alright, well, bring in the lawyer's letter and the 2 invoices and we'll have a meeting, okay? Great. Alright, speak to you then, Bob. Well, the first invoice appears to be a valid payment claim. So, what did you send in response?
I sent this email saying we're not going to look at it until he gets his paperwork together.
Okay.
So, how can he get summary judgment when we don't owe him any money?
This new law is a big change for the construction industry. It's understandable that you'd be annoyed, but remember, it's only about cash flow. If the defects are as bad as you say they are, you can claim your money back.
Claim it back?
Previously, an email like this would have been enough to say that you disputed the invoice. They would have had to follow and chase you up to get their invoice paid. But it's different now. The new law requires you to send what is called a payment schedule. And if you didn't send that within 15 business days, you have to pay now and argue later.
So what has to be in this payment schedule?
Well, to be a valid payment schedule, there's 3 elements. A payment schedule must identify the claim it relates to, state the amount to be paid, and say why that amount is less than what they're asking for.
We weren't intending to pay anything, and I rang him and told him why. But do we have to pay the whole lot, even though it's going to cost about 200 grand just to fix it?
Yeah. Unfortunately, because your account section didn't send a payment schedule within 15 business days of receiving Fireco's payment claim, there's no point challenging the first invoice now.
So we have to pay because we missed a deadline?
I'm sorry, Bob, but that's the situation for everyone, even if they don't know about the law. But let's see what we can do about this second invoice. When did you receive it?
3 weeks ago, I reckon.
Okay. Right, well, the Act says 15 business days, so you received it on the 8th. Today's the 27th, so we have to send a payment schedule within 48 hours.
Well, what do I have to do?
We need to state how much of 300k you're prepared to pay. That might be 0 by the sounds of this guy. Then we need to state all of your reasons for not paying the full amount so we can put them in the payment schedule. Any documents you have to support this, scan them and send them through and we'll annex them to the payment schedule.
Alright, well I'll get the site foreman to email you the reasons today, but I can't believe this.
Yeah. Thanks for sending through that email. And no documentation has arrived yet to certify that the pipe complies with Australian standards.
Nah, no progress on that. We paid the invoice in full and the project's still held up.
Right. So the defects aren't as bad as you thought. It's only some of the pipe that's not compliant. I thought you were saying you might owe 0, but now you reckon you can fix it for 120k?
Yeah, it's not as bad as the foreman told me.
We prepared a payment schedule based on the email, so here's your copy. If you'd like to have a look, we'll go through it. And number 1, we've said that this payment schedule refers to their payment claim. Number 2, we said that you are prepared to pay only 130k of the 300,000 claimed. And 3, because it is less than their claimed amount, we've set out here your reasons for withholding the 170k. At A, we refer to the schedule and the lack of documentation required by the contract. B, we attach the superintendent's letter to you explaining why he's not accepting the defects. C is your estimate for costs to rectify the defects, which was $120,000. And D is the building program showing the delay that they have caused to the project. And E is the calculation of the liquidated damages that works out to $50,000.
Okay, that looks good.
Now, are there any other valid reasons you can think of? It's important that you put them all here because if Tony applies for adjudication, you'll be limited to what's listed in this document.
Adjudication?
Or under the Act, because you aren't paying the full amount claimed, he can apply for an adjudicator to determine whether you should pay more than the $130,000 you've agreed to. An adjudicator is like a private judge who has authority under the Act to determine progress payment amounts. Adjudication is a short timeframe cash flow resolution process.
Well, I doubt he'll challenge it. I mean, he's probably high-fiving around the joint just because of the fact that we paid out that first invoice.
Okay, now you are sure that that is all the reasons?
Yeah, I suppose.
Great. Okay, well, we'll leave it at that and see what develops. In the interim, could you sign at the bottom there, and we'll send the payment schedule off to them today. I'll write to him as well to see if we can get a meeting organised to try and resolve this whole thing for you.
All right. Cheers, Simon.
It's okay. Now, can we turn this law to your advantage? I bet that $2 million the owner of the tower projects is withholding. Why not send them a payment claim?
Does this law cover the whole construction industry, or is it just for subbies?
All commercial construction work is covered, even some residential work is included.
Okay. What about mining? Because we do a fair bit of work for mining companies these days.
Yeah, mining, railways, government contract. If you're not sure, send us a copy of the contract and we'll let you know if it's included.
Okay, thanks. Well, I'll send over a couple of contracts where payments are overdue now.
Well, let us know if you need any help with that payment claim.